You are now listening to the Friends of Rugby podcast. Relax your anus. Balls. Thick thighs. Camille Shat. Where's his neck? Eddie Jones. You're fucked, mate.
And we are
Nice
recording.
Yay.
Welcome. You're listening to the Friends of Rugby podcast,
The home of AI art.
the home of AI art.
We're going to change that?
We're going to try.
Yeah, we're not artists though, are we?
I'll put you in charge of that.
Someone who's listening who does art and can draw a rugby ball or even an egg.
Do you have any kind of computer art skills?
I do actually. I'm pretty good at Photoshop, yeah.
Why haven't you ever offered to update anything?
Can't be fucked. Cannot be fucked at all. The AI art, we made that picture before everyone hated AI art, and I understand why people hate AI art. We thought it was funny. It was like ironic, right? We know we're trash. And then we're getting comments recently saying, like, if it wasn't for the AI art, I would listen to you guys. So now we have to get rid of it, even though it was ironic in the first place.
It's like when people give us advice on our podcast.
And we're like, yeah, good
If
point.
you guys are engaging, like, how's your fan engagement? Like, you're going to be here. Like, oh my gosh.
Shut
Like,
the fuck up.
yeah.
Some guy was like, can you put timestamps on your YouTube videos? Like, mate, if only I had the time.
Well, you
Take
do
all
have
the
the time.
Of course I have the time.
You
I
have
just
the
can't
time.
be fucked.
Yeah, you can't
Not
be
being
fucked.
fucked is a very time-consuming affair, you know?
Don't say you don't have the time. You have lots of time.
I have the time, but I can't be fucked. It's, you know, it's busy being not
We
being
are
fucked.
two individuals that really like to do nothing.
I love it. I love being left alone.
Yes.
I don't want any more friends. Like, I'm
Just-
happy. I'm a
I
happy
like
man.
being able to do
Yeah,
nothing.
this
I
is
love
fine.
having nothing on my plate.
Oh, me too. Oh, there's nothing better. Yeah.
Do you know who also likes having nothing on their plate?
Uh,
The Glasgow Warriors and the Sharks.
excellent segue. Excellent. That was a great segue. Segue of the week, easily.
And Bristol.
Yeah. I feel bad for Bristol.
Do you? You have
Well,
a
I-
soft spot for Bristol.
I lived there. I've got big. I like the way they play, I should say as well. That's more
Mhm.
important. And Bristol Bath, that rivalry is a real thing.
Mhm.
And that game was a good game. You know, it wasn't a hammering. It was not a hammering. Everyone was expecting Bath to walk all over them. They gave them a good game. They just didn't have they did not have enough of a bench. They didn't have enough energy to get over the line. But yeah, it was a good game.
Are we going to get into this? You want to talk about
We're all over the place.
You want to talk about the URC semifinals first?
Sure. That's our wheelhouse,
Do
isn't
you
it?
want to, and then we'll talk about the final, and then we'll move on.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea.
So, Leinster, Glasgow.
Yeah. Fucking Glasgow. Pricks.
Yeah, you were upset.
I am upset.
Like you were expecting something different.
I was expecting those points they scored. They didn't score them until the last 10 minutes. They had 5 points on the board for a lot of the game, but they got hammered. And I know people talk about Leinster know how to beat them, which is true.
They did better than last time they played each other.
They should be embarrassed about the last time they played each other, though.
Mhm.
They should be fucking embarrassed by that. My problem with Glasgow is I really want to be a part of the hype train. I really want to cheer for Glasgow. They're just so inconsistent. They're the most inconsistent fucking team. They're a bit like Harlequins, actually. They're really exciting play style.
That is a good comparison.
You know,
they are.
But I don't think it's...
And on paper, they should be they should always be good. Like the Harlequins are underachievers
They are.
for their squad.
They are. And both teams lack a bit of physicality as well. That's, for me, it's so exciting to watch. And they are the hope of rugby. Harlequins in Glasgow could be what I dream rugby should be like, you know? Swashbuckling, running it in from everywhere, exciting, open field rugby. But they just collapse sometimes. And maybe that is because the way they play.
I think it's just Leinster's style of play.
Yeah. It's rock, paper,
They're
scissors.
smothering.
Yeah.
They smother teams.
They do.
They pin teams into corners.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't bode well with
It doesn't.
Glasgow. Like these two clash of styles
Yeah.
don't go. They just don't go well together.
No. It's like a tall guy holding a midget at arm's length and just slapping him sometimes, because Leinster will kick the ball religiously out of their own half, right? And because they've got guys who are good under the high ball, I think Frawley was playing at 13 actually, and Hugo Keenan obviously is really good under the high ball. They know how to pin you effectively. I think it'll be different with the Bulls, but Glasgow just had no answer for it. I want to like Glasgow. I want to like them. It's so annoying watching them. It's so frustrating watching them, you know. And as a Welsh rugby and Cardiff fan, I expect to lose, but with Glasgow, we know they can win. That's what's annoying about it, is there's hope, you know. The hope fucking kills me. And you're just
ingrained hatred for Leinster.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. They were the team who, you know, I wanted to see a news headline, Glasgow shock Leinster. Nothing would have made me more happy.
Oh, that would have...
Nothing. Yeah, nothing would have made me happier.
Rise up.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie Osborne was playing 13.
Oh, okay. What was Frawley playing?
You're thinking Frawley because they kind of look alike.
Do you know what? That's probably it.
That's why you're saying that.
Because I saw this tall ginger bloke.
Frawley was
Am I an idiot? Was he playing? Right.
Right. Thing is, Jamie Osborne he's becoming. This guy is going to be the Irish, Elliot Daly.
He's a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Because Kieran Frawley should have been that guy. Then he had a couple of wobbles.
Kieran Frawley was looking out to be that guy.
Because he was the guy, hey guys, I can play 10. I can play 15. Then he totally fucked it against the Springboks, and now he's only allowed to play 15.
I still think there's something. I think there's something left in Frawley.
Oh yeah, he's a good player.
There's something left to come out of Frawley, and
yeah, there is. And he's young.
Just give me a second here. Just give me a second. All right, back from the pee break.
Kieran Frawley. Discuss.
Kieran Frawley being the Elliot Daly.
Yeah. Jamie Osborne is good though. I'm trying to get my momentum here. You know, Jamie Osborne, jack of all. No, you're saying Jamie Osborne was the new Elliot Daly.
He's becoming the new Elliot Daly.
Yeah,
it was going to be Kieran Frawley.
Yeah,
but I think Jamie Osborne's got the higher ceiling.
Yeah, he does
right now. But I still think Kieran Frawley's got something more to show.
Yeah, he's a playmaker, isn't he?
I think he's going to have a coming out of his shell moment.
He's on a knife edge. He either goes Jacob Stockdale, or he goes, or he goes a bit more, you know, Hugo Keenan, where he's reliable and has big game moments. You know,
there's a lot of kids. There's a lot of the kids now in Leinster.
They are finally stepping up.
Are starting to become the staples.
Yeah, they are, and I think that's good for them because everyone's criticism of them and Ireland is they just don't develop depth very well. Despite having a lot of fucking players on their books, they don't seem to prepare their guys for big games. But Leinster are doing that now.
Where Leinster, I think, are super fucked is at 9.
Yeah.
Gibson Park. He can't be at Gibson Park forever.
I'm going to say something controversial. 10. Sam Prendergast had another bad game.
No, he had a great game.
No, he did not.
Oh, what are you watching?
I don't know. I guess something else, but I thought
he is fucking awesome. He was awesome this game.
I saw him fall off 3 tackles, which were gimmies.
Yes, his defense, they even cheered when he made a tackle. That's how his tackling has, it's now it's just an open thing.
Yeah.
But his game management and his offense is incredible. And it's crazy.
You're back on the wagon,
there was that one try they had where he basically takes the ball and he's holding the ball up until the line and he waits until someone from Glasgow just smashes him and he just releases this like fucking super pass right in the middle and he's waiting to get smashed. Like he constantly brings the ball up to the line to get fucking crunched.
Yeah.
And it's just weird where he chooses to put his body on the line. Because it comes to a tackle, he doesn't want anything.
That's one thing I don't think is true. He's not scared. He's not a coward because he will take a hit. He will take a hit.
I think I think he's a bit of a coward when it comes to tackling.
I think it's the pressure, you know. I think the pressure of his team expecting him to make those tackles has got into his head a bit.
Because if he wasn't afraid, he would put his body in line of fire more.
Yeah.
When it comes to tackling, he doesn't. But he there was so many times in that game where he just takes the ball right up to the line, gets crunched.
Yeah.
But he just releases this pass right at the last second.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely an arrow in his I think quite light quiver, to be honest.
If you watch him too, when you're watching him, he's constantly yelling at everyone, talking to everyone, moving people around, spotting things out. Like,
do you
he's a
think
smart
though
player.
some of the things he does are just what a good 10 should do?
No, I
and
think he does them better than the average 10.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
and then there's a reason why he's still starting. There's a reason why like all the
Well,
other.
I think he's still starting because they just don't have as good 10 options.
Yeah,
I think the Burn boys have had their day.
I think he's well. They kind of put all their eggs in his basket.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But and there's a reason why.
Has a 10 ever had
every other pundit is like talking about how good he is too, and they're talking about how bad his defense is now. I think before they weren't. They were kind of like thinking, he needs some time. But now they have all come to realization, the 10 stuff that he does with ball in hand is incredible, and when he doesn't have the ball in his hand and he has to like play defense, he's
a fucking
brutal.
liability.
He's a liability.
Yeah. I just don't think.
And I think Glasgow didn't target him enough.
No, they didn't.
They didn't put him. They could have really there's like points to be made on him. That's a problem. There's points to be made on Prendergast.
Yeah, he's worth maybe a try or two against him.
Against him, right?
Yeah,
and they didn't take that opportunity. They hit him. They hide him well.
They do hide him well. They're learning to do that. But you shouldn't like a great 10 of the ages. You don't talk about hiding them.
I know you really badly want me to be like, yeah, he sucks.
Well, you did. No, you said that last week.
Or
it
you
was
want
great.
me to be like,
I milked my cow last week.
You want me to say he's an
all.
average 10 though? That's what you really want.
I want people to acknowledge that he's having an armchair ride. He could be a good 10. He's in the best club team ever put together, and people are like, this guy's a genius. Like, no, he's in the best club team ever to play the game.
You're shadowed by your bias.
Well, you already gave me what I need last week. I'm good. I am good.
Yeah, we went on attack. We admit he's a defensive liability.
Yeah. Well, the truth is, next week we'll know because Bulls will target him. Bulls will target him.
I don't think we already know. We already know though.
Yeah.
Like, what are we trying to expose?
I think what we're trying to say is.
What do you want? What do you want to be said about Sam Prendergast? Let's get it all.
I've said it all. You said it last week.
He's a defensive liability.
I would honestly rather not talk about Irish 10s, so we can move on as soon as you're ready.
Yeah, but back to Gibson Park and how I'm worried because he was super good in this game.
He is mercurial, isn't he? Yeah, he's wonderful.
He's a sniper.
Yeah. He is better than DuPont. There, I said it. There, I fucking said it.
Also. Another 9 scrum half. George Horn is so underrated.
Yeah. If you put him in the Bulls team or the Leinster team, and you don't need to because Jameson Gibson Parkinson is very fucking good. But he is a guy who needs to be in a good team so that we see how good he is. You know what I mean? But
if he was playing for Leinster, he would be talked about more.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to be in a more winning team. Yeah. There's a couple like Sione Tuipulotu. That try he scored as well was fucking incredible. He needs to be. It was his year. It was his main character year, right? And he will go on the Lions tour, which is good for him. But missing out on the Six Nations for him was a real kick for rugby. Rugby needs an exciting guy like him to play as much rugby as he can, because he's got everything that someone like Tuolangi has, where he is destructive, right? You are scared to tackle that guy, but he's got a fucking step on him. He's got a step on him. He is the real full package for a center, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm really sad he missed out the Six Nations. So I'm really excited for him to see him on the Lions tour as well. There's a lot of good guys in Glasgow. They play like a French team in that it feels like they don't have a game plan sometimes. But when it works with the French teams is their guys are just so electric and talented across the board. It just seems to work. And obviously they do have a game plan. Glasgow just seem to throw everything at a wall and see what sticks.
There was just a strength difference.
There was. At the bench as well. The bench made a difference.
Like, you're just talking about a team that's got 23 rock stars on them.
Yeah.
Versus a team that has 8.
Yeah.
Right? They have a good team, but it's just not as...
Well, they don't have a Geordie Barrett and RG Snyman, do they? Or, never mind the Irish.
They got a Sione too, a lot.
They got one of those, good. Sad that Finn Russell left, because he's a difference maker as well. But, whatever. It is what it is.
Bulls
and Sharks.
Bulls and Sharks.
I think I expected this. I think I called this.
I think a lot of people did expect this.
Yeah. I think there's actually Sharks are getting a few injuries now, which isn't good.
Yeah, they didn't have their Etzbeth.
No.
But the Bulls had their Willie LaRue.
Of course they did. You can't win a game without Willie LaRue.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
I just don't understand the Sharks. This is beyond my very minimal rugby knowledge, and it's beyond me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's the team that should be destroying everyone.
Yeah, it's weird because if you put Leinster and Sharks man to man in like a lineup,
Mm-hmm.
they're both the South African and Irish national sides respectively. Leinster have had some slip ups, but more or less cruised the season with a bit of choking. The Sharks have almost staggered. They failed upwards. They were like
really
a middle-class white guy in the office. He just fails upwards until he's the manager of the company,
true.
you know? How did they get to this place?
How did you guys get here?
Yeah, so I'm glad the Bulls smashed them.
I just don't see. Yeah, I'm kind of. Because, yeah, you should be, when you're looking at the two teams, you should be saying, oh, yeah, the Sharks got this on lockdown.
Yeah, they do.
But they just don't click.
They don't, do they? No.
It's got to be. I feel like the problem with the Sharks isn't the personnel. It's a system. It's like a coaching issue. It's some kind. They're just not. Their game plan is just not built around their.
Yeah. Do you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of the days where Wales were the better than the sum of their parts. When they played for the national side, they woke up.
Yes.
And then Ospreys, Scarlets, Cardiff Dragons, it was like, these guys are dog shit week in, week out. There might be something like that going on here because obviously pulling on a Springboks jersey changes a man. You know, it turns him into a monster, doesn't it?
I think you put Razzie as the coach of the Sharks.
Yeah.
No one beats them.
It's hard because I think part of Razzie's factor is motivating guys to play for the Springboks. Yes. I don't think he could motivate people to play for the Sharks in the same way.
I think he could walk into any team and motivate any player to die for that.
I agree with
jersey.
that. I don't think you'd get exactly the same, but he would definitely be a better. They would play better than they are now under him. There were some guys on the Sharks though. Khaleesi didn't play particularly well. I didn't think. Who was it as well? Was it Lucanio Am didn't play particularly well. I didn't think. I mean, these are things that people have already said as well, like from previous games. A lot of these Springboks maybe are aging out, maybe just don't get the same out of them in their club side as you do for the national side.
Yeah, there might be this. We might be putting too much into this. These guys are turning into old guard Springboks.
Yeah.
So we might be putting too much into them.
And if you wanted to segue into it, which we don't have to right now, if you look at Rassie's 54-man touring squad.
Yeah, why is it so big?
It's massive, and there's a lot of young, inexperienced guys on there. There's a lot of guys who are middle-aged in rugby career terms and on the periphery. It's a strange squad, and I think that's what he's thinking now is he needs to develop depth again. That's what he's thinking. I don't even know who they're playing, actually. I forgot, but I'm happy the Bulls won, though. I wanted the Bulls to beat Leinster, and I hope they do. And I think they will, actually.
Let's talk about that game.
All right.
I agree with you. I feel like the Bulls are going to... In the last 5 games that these two have played against each other, Leinster have only won once.
It's like 4-1 or something, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But to be fair, to put more context to this, they have only, I think, once have played where both teams sent out a full-strength team. And then when that happened, Leinster won.
And this game will be in Ireland.
Yes. And there'll be 2 full-strength teams. And we know how the South Africans... Now I'm convincing myself otherwise. How they don't travel well.
I'm going to tell you something in Bulls' defense. They have they know how to beat Leinster.
Yes.
Glasgow don't have the formula. Bulls have the formula. You know?
They have the talent. They have the depth.
Yeah, it's the physicality for me. They can outmuscle Leinster if they wanted to, and they will try to do that. I've no doubt.
Because this league now is always going to have the URC will always, just because the South African teams are not going to have the money, but they'll have the revolving door of talent always coming through.
That's their massive advantage, isn't it?
Yeah, that is their
most registered rugby players per capita by far in the world.
So they will always have these teams will always have talent on them.
Yeah. Sorry, not per capita, by population.
By population,
yeah.
So
not
they will
per capita, yeah.
So I just think the Bulls are just they're hungrier.
It's almost like they've got a point to prove as well, because I think everyone has expected them to do something in the last couple of years and they haven't quite done it. And I think getting beat by Glasgow at home last year was a bit embarrassing for them. I think they've really got a point to prove. Leinster, the choke artist thing is a factor.
I think it's a big factor.
I don't know how to quantify it, but it's definitely a factor.
I think it's going to come into play.
Yeah, I do think so.
There's
as well.
There's just something about the game just too big for them. It's just too much pressure.
Yeah. Just the little Irish boys can't
They just need to. Now, if Leinster win this game, this is going to be a hard match. If Leinster can manage to win this, I think this will be a good mental spring for all these younger Leinster players that are going to be on this team.
Yeah, for a long time.
So
yeah, I think so. Jamie Osborne.
To get into this game, to grind out a win will be good going into the future seasons for them.
Yeah. They, because I think it was Leo Cullen said somewhere, he said, maybe he didn't. Someone in the Leinster management said our target is the Champions Cup, right? Mm-hmm. You've already failed in your explicit aims.
Yeah.
And that is bad because they kind of get it their own way a lot of the time here. Mm-hmm. They have the most money and resources and they cruise the season. They make the season look kind of easy.
Yeah.
And then to slip up at it feels random to slip up. Like to slip up against Northampton felt a bit like, oh, what the fuck was that? You've beaten Harlequins in Glasgow the last 2 weeks by 50, 60 points. So they have to win this, as you said, for those players to believe they can win going forward. Because the material is there to win for a long time. There's a dynasty in that team, isn't there?
It's just when they come up to, when the competition, the games that they lost are these games where the competition has been raised significantly.
And they weren't ready for it.
From a regular URC. It's almost like the average URC game is not preparing them.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Like they're not in enough danger throughout the season.
Because if you play the Dragons and Benetton and the Lions, and then you go up against a very motivated Northampton team, like no doubt they're going to give you a different kind of game. So it's a good point. It's a good point. And the fact that we don't have relegation in the URC means that when they play the teams at the bottom of the league, they send out a C team, they rest their regulars, everything's casual. Like, yeah, we'll smash these guys. Our academy's better than their fucking first team, right? So when they come up against a good team, they're not even... They're too well rested,
Yeah, their privilege is also their downfall.
Yeah, it is. It shoots them in the foot.
Inconsistent, like, their team is so mixed match throughout the season. Like, they have their A squad, but they only bring these guys out for...
It's like once a month.
Yeah, for the big show. And but these guys haven't played, like,
you need
because there's been some shocking, like in the past too, there's been some shocking numbers from some of these top players in Leinster, like how many minutes of actual rugby they played, and then the big games they get thrown into for Leinster and Ireland, and it's just sometimes they looked shell shocked.
You need to be tough and hard in rugby, which is obviously an obvious statement to make, but you need that week in, week out game time to sometimes win, don't you? Mm-hmm. And you risk injury, but so be it. It's rugby. Everyone on that team is going to have a long-term injury at some point or another. It's just the nature of the game.
So next week
in Croke Park, I think,
and we got the boys.
Yeah.
We got the URC championship.
Yeah.
We got the Premiership championship on the same day.
Yeah.
We get a back-to-back championship games on Saturday.
Yeah, we do.
Right in the morning. Saturday morning.
When is the top 14? They're probably playing into August, though, aren't they?
I think their final is in 2026 or 2027.
They overlap themselves in the season.
They're playing the previous season while they're playing the new season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they still have like a month to go.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they are a fucking that's a whole different animal.
It is. I tell you what about so maybe we'll talk about Bath and Leicester in the final in a minute. One thing I am a bit sad about this year is everything feels a little predictable, like it's just the guys with the most money at the top again. And I was hoping Glasgow would be the ones to add some excitement or fizz to it, but it's just like, no, we've got most money and resources, we're up the top again.
What about the Bulls?
I mean, they've got, like, as you said, a country with a million fucking rugby players, and these South African teams aren't poor,
No.
You're paying the Springboks basically, right? They've got a lot of resources.
There has to be some money there because they are pulling in some huge stars.
Yeah, they are.
That could be making a lot of money elsewhere.
Could be hanging out in Japan, making a lot of fucking money. So yeah, they've got money, And even if they didn't have a lot of money, there's enough South African talent there that would still be a fucking quality side, wouldn't it?
There's always another Etzebeth down there.
Yeah, there is.
Yep.
And the other Etzbeth's playing in fucking Leinster, by the way, so that'll be... Anyway, I don't know. That's the only thing that makes me sad, but I am excited for a Super Saturday, albeit in the fucking morning.
Talk about Bath and Leicester. Michael Cheika, good first season. Good first and only season, I guess.
I read a thing where he said, I'm not celebrating this win. We should have been here before. He's not happy. He's not happy. He's not happy to be in the Premiership final. Says, this is not achievement for me. Direct quote. He refused to celebrate Leinster's success against Sale after declaring he'd only be satisfied when they won the Premiership. Fucking edgelord, shut up. Enjoy your win.
So he just thinks like we should be here anyways.
Yeah, that's a bit arrogant. Don't you think?
And they kind of had an up and down season. There's a lot of drama in this season with them.
Yeah, he took some hammerings.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So he should be happy.
Yeah.
That's just confidence.
I hope so.
That's just the Michael Cheika confidence.
Because if you say that, then you lose the final, you look like a wanker.
Maybe he's pissed because he thought he'd probably go back to Australia and get the job again.
Maybe.
Then Les Kiss just took it from him. Like,
Yeah.
where is he going? Where is he going?
He's stuck now. He's stuck in the middle of England. So that's why he's sad.
But yeah, exciting weekend for two finals in a row.
Yeah.
Super Rugby is coming to a close too.
Yeah.
You got an Australian team in the semifinals.
Yeah, you do. Do you think they'll get to a final?
No, they're fucked.
No, I think they're fucked too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about Super Rugby, but I do know that it went as kind of expected. And, Brumbies beating Hurricanes. I think that's who it was, wasn't it? Yeah, Brumbies beat Hurricanes. That is a good result because Hurricanes are decent.
Do you know the Hurricanes have a Scottish head coach?
I didn't know that.
He's the cousin of Greg Laidlaw.
I didn't know that. I did not know that at all. That's
I thought that was pretty fucking random too.
That is interesting.
I was like, is this guy related? Because I saw his name and I was like, is that guy related? He's not a Scottish guy, and he is.
Yeah, because he must look like him.
He was coaching the New Zealand Sevens. Okay, that's where he came from. He was an assistant coach for the Hurricanes a while back, also.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's his cousin, the Laidlaw legacy. In Super Rugby.
Well, I knew that their uncle was a Scottish. Like they're a kind of a rugby family, right? I didn't know that though. That's interesting. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
a little tidbit there for you. I didn't know that too.
One.
I was reading the article the other day. I'm like, wait a second, is that?
Yeah.
Like, oh, look at that.
Yeah. I do want to go back to the Prem though. What do you think about Sale Sharks? Because they lost to Leicester.
Sale Sharks are kind of like the Sharks in URC.
Yeah.
On paper,
yeah,
they are good. They are a good team.
Yeah.
They are a good team.
They are a good team.
I think Leicester just kind of got the best of them in this one. I think either
they figured them out.
Yeah, I think either of those teams could have won that match.
Okay, yeah, it was close. It was reasonably close.
I felt like they're pretty like Leicester are pretty like this is just they kind of just got the bet they were the better team on the day kind of thing. I think if you played that game a bunch of times, I think the results would be different throughout.
So it's not a dramatic or definitive victory.
No,
it was just
I wouldn't put this against Sale. I just think it was just not their day.
Because there's a lot of internationals in the Sale team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bevan Rod, Cowan Dickey, both the Currys. You got a big old Curry either side of the scrum there. George Ford, who is a very, I just think like, I don't want to say they're underachieving because actually the Prem is actually quite competitive, isn't it? But they're like Bath of the olden days, like just a bit lacking identity, a bit boring. Can't quite do it.
Sale and Bath are kind of like the two, in my eyes, are the two most boring clubs.
Yeah. The blue boys of the Prem.
I think that Leicester Tigers should be there also, but they got
some history. I mean, Bath have history. To be fair, they used to be the big boys a long time ago. But Leicester have history.
I think you're going to see the Premiership change a lot in the next few years.
Elaborate.
There's just a lot of like rumored money.
Yeah.
Getting tossed around in that league.
Yeah.
With the Newcastle Falcons, about all the rumors about like how everyone in the world wants to buy
every
this
week.
club.
There's a new rumor. Every week, like
there's some NFL owners.
Yeah, Bill Gates is going to buy the Newcastle Falcons. Like, is he? Like,
there's all these like big money rumors going around the Falcons. And I
Yeah,
feel
there
like
is.
someone wants to make a project out of this.
Yeah, there's a few clubs.
They want to Wrexham. The Newcastle
Yeah.
Falcons. They want to like it's a cheap club. It's probably easy to. It's probably relatively cheap to buy.
If we could shift that lens away from football, soccer, onto rugby and just draw some famous people, because when I was watching that Welcome to Wrexham again, Tom Brady owns or is a part owner of Birmingham Football Club, right? And you'd think these millionaire NFL owners, if you showed them rugby and were like, you could do a thing with this, you know, you're a big hard tough guy, buy a rugby club instead. And then I could see that happen in the Prem, where next year we have another Bristol or Exeter style story when Newcastle just fly up the table because they bought 10 really good quality guys. Like I could definitely see it.
Because if you're looking into getting into rugby, buying a team, you got some money.
Yeah.
I think the Falcons is a very enticing.
They used to be good as
opportunity.
well. Johnny Wilkinson used to play for them. They used
Yeah.
to, I think they won the Premiership a long time ago.
They have a fan base.
They do have a fan base.
They have a
yeah.
solid fan base for how successful they've been throughout like the last decade.
Geographically,
And
that's
people still show up to their games.
that's as far north as you can go almost and have a professional rugby team. So like all the most of the north of England up there is probably a Newcastle Falcons fan if you're a rugby
so
fan.
you got a big potential. You can have a bigger
Yeah.
potential. If you start bringing in some stars,
Yeah.
you bringing in some wins.
I could see it.
There's probably a lot of money up there.
But we're talking about London Irish and Worcester coming back eventually as well, right? They're already signing players. So, yeah, I do. I want the Prem to be good. I do like the Prem when it's good. I enjoyed it a lot last year, and it's not been as good this year. Speaking of batshit ideas and buying rugby, though, R360.
Are we going to talk about this?
I think we should.
I wasn't going to give it any attention.
Oh, we could not talk. We can
We
say
could talk
that we're
about
not
this.
going to talk about it.
So Mike Tyndall's like what Formula One style PGA Tour
Yeah.
style rugby.
Yeah.
It has
I'm angry about this.
You know what really gets me like when someone says they have a new league idea
Yeah.
and there's like a new league of any kind of sport,
Yeah.
that's going to come up. The first thing I judge is the name,
Yeah. Okay.
right? I look at the name and I'm like, never going to happen.
What was the name of that NFL style league? And it just had the most mental, stupid.
Oh, the XFL,
As soon as I heard that,
the Extreme Football
it
League.
sounded like a bad Xbox game, and I just thought
Yeah.
that's not going to fly.
Well, the history with the XFL, just to give you a short snippet,
yeah.
why it's like called Extreme
Yeah.
is because it was derived the first makeup of that league came in the 90s.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So it
So
has
it was-
some history.
Where everything had the name Extreme on it. If you go back
Yeah.
to the 90s,
Yeah.
everything, every movie, any product was Extreme.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but they kind of like brought that back to life because it was like a Vince McMahon wrestling thing.
Yeah. It was very WWF adjacent, wasn't it?
And they had like cameras and mics everywhere, and
Yeah.
it was supposed to give you like this real. But
Because
anyways,
The Rock bought into it at one point, didn't
yeah,
he?
well, that was the second. That was when they brought it back to life from the dead. When they brought it back from the dead
Yeah.
a few years ago, and then it got killed by COVID.
Fuck's sake.
Uh,
Yeah.
I know Tyndall's like really excited to do something different. So if you didn't know, like Mike Tyndall and some folks, some people with some money,
Yeah. Of which Mike Tyndall is one.
want to make some sort of touring rugby league thing.
As in a league of rugby, not the game rugby
Yeah,
league.
so like
it's a
every
rugby union league
Other weekend, you have this like mini Rugby World Cup style kind of competition
with high caliber players who
Yes.
play maybe one-off games, or they just play for this invitational side for a series and then go back to their regular club.
Yeah. So, and then they'll like play these games
Yeah.
in this touring thing. So a city will host a bunch of games.
Yeah. Like it's basically the Seven Circuit, isn't
Yes.
it? It's just the Seven Circuit in the idea.
To make this as enticing as he's talking about, it's going to take a lot of money,
Yeah.
a lot of investment. This is a
Yeah.
high risk
Yeah. Yeah.
investment.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to come up with the money that they need to
Yeah.
make it the way that he's talking.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is you're going to get a much less product that he's advertising right now,
Yeah.
way less product,
Yeah.
and it's going to fade away. They'll try it once or twice, but since they're not going to be able to go out, because they need to go, for this to be successful, they have to have all the dollars in place. They have to have all the rugby stars in place.
They do.
And they
The
have
stars
to
have to align.
Yeah, the stars have to align for this for this to even be considered a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's gonna happen. It's gonna be like $1 billion.
It's not going to happen. I'm going to say one good thing about it, and I'm going to trash it because this is a terrible fucking idea. And it actually makes me angry because it's condescending as well. The one good thing I'll say about it is I live in Canada. If you told me two barbarian style teams are going to play in the Elks Stadium this weekend, and I would pay, don't know, $60, $70 to watch it, and I could see a bunch of rugby stars, sort of like a Harlem Globetrotters style match against each other. That sounds fucking awesome. I would do that in a heartbeat. But I'm in Edmonton, and that stadium would sell maybe 10,000 tickets because of all the rugby clubs and their friends, which isn't nearly enough to cover renting out the fucking stadium. You know what I mean? So I understand that. And what they're trying to do is, and people in rugby talk about this a lot, especially the bigwigs, they want to replicate the success of Formula One and things like golf, because those sports are kind of on their arse. And then they changed the format and they started going to different cities and doing it. And all of a sudden these sports are popular again. That's what they're chasing. We had that. It was the Rugby 7 circuit. It didn't fucking work, right? And it's condescending because Mike Tyndall is saying things like people will spend £75 on a ticket and then they'll buy a shirt, buy a bit of food, buy some beers. They'll have spent £300 to £500, I think he said, on a game day experience. Like, what fucking magical money world do you live in, man? Like, most people will buy a beer and a game ticket because it's their regular club who've got to a semi-final or a final.
He's been living that royal life way too long.
It's so detached from reality. It's so detached from the day-to-day. And he's saying things like, there's so many rugby fans in the world, we've just got to find a way to extract their money. And I think he used the word extract, like with some fucking sample, some medical sample to just get every single penny out of us that he can, right?
He's like one of those rich guys that thinks like a loaf of bread is like
I don't know, £10
or like what is it, like £60 for a loaf of bread?
What's a pint of milk these days? I don't know, £50.
Like they're complaining, but like it's like what's a loaf of bread, like £100?
Why don't these poor people just get some money out of the bank and just you fucked. There's a global recession happening in the background. Like, this is such a bad idea. And it's a non-starter because if I'm Harlequins and they go, hey, can we have Marcus Smith for 3 games? No, fuck yourself. No. Hey, England, can we have Marcus Smith for 3 games? No, go fuck yourself.
It doesn't even matter because at the end of the day, this isn't happening.
And this is the worst thing because he then can say when it does inevitably fall in his face, oh, rugby's not ready to evolve. Rugby's not ready to make money.
That's what
they can say the shit that these bigwigs in these boardrooms have been saying for a while. It's like, rugby needs to modernize. You are the ones holding it back. You are the ones who just won't let Squidge Rugby use footage.
Yeah, why don't you just
do the simple things, guys?
If he was going to do something worthwhile with his money, why don't you just bring back the Wasps?
Yeah.
And put all that money you have, put it in the Wasps.
Yeah, if you've got millions and funders, exactly.
Yeah.
Put it into a club has fans, would fill out a stadium tomorrow.
Instead of why don't you just make a club great?
Yeah,
he
wants to go to Dubai and Monaco and sit there watching fabulous rugby players and get angry at people when they're not spending their money because they can't afford it. Like, go fuck yourself. I'm so angry about this.
It doesn't matter because it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
This league
no
is,
chance.
It's either it's not going to happen or if it does happen, it's going to be it's just going to be so much less than what he's talking about.
I almost want it to get off the ground enough so it can fall flat on its fucking face.
Because that's what it will happen.
Yeah.
They're either gonna have one event a weekend or maybe 2 weekends.
Yeah,
it's not gonna garner much attention, and it's gonna fade into the abyss of all the other extreme sports things that other people tried.
Yeah,
there's a reason why when you see successful leagues why they're working.
Yeah. They understand. And you grow slowly, don't you? You
Yeah.
have to grow slowly. You can't just throw a bunch of money at it. There's a graveyard, as you said, there's a graveyard of extreme sports ideas that are sitting there with their shiny lights in this pile of trash in the corner that no one actually wanted. No one fucking wanted that, right? You grow slowly and you grow with the fans, right? The fans for London Irish, Worcester and Wasps exist, and you're telling them, I know you guys spend £500 when you go to Monaco to watch the Formula One. It's like, no, we fucking don't. No, we fucking don't. You're insane.
It's just out of touch, and it's just
it's a bit offensive.
It's gonna be funny because he's gonna lose a lot of money,
and then he'll turn around on his podcast and go, rugby's not ready to evolve. Rugby's not ready for this. Rugby doesn't know what's good for it. Oh, fuck off. Oh, God, makes me angry.
Did. You just got. You're the face. There's some people behind him because it's not this isn't coming out of his
No,
pocket.
no, and that's something I should say.
He's the spokesman for this. He's the guy that they're using to hype this product up.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's just like it's funny.
Yeah, I did a lot of speculating
Poor
about
guy.
him specifically there. I do apologize to a degree because you're right. There's a bunch of money guys behind the scenes who are actually doing these things.
He doesn't have fucking $1 billion.
No, he just likes the idea and said he'd talk about it. Probably
he just got hired, or he just got hired. He's getting paid money to say these kind of things.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, no, it's snobby. It's out of touch. No,
you just have to create. You have to create so much history.
Yeah, you do,
and it's just not there.
And you have to start in the pool that you can't just step outside of what exists with rugby and expect it to work. I want my team to play another team I'm aware of, right? You can't just like invent rugby culture.
Having like the difference between this, like the other extreme thing that's happening right now, that's in the talks is the Rugby World Cup Club
of clubs,
right?
Yeah,
that thing has a foundation.
It does,
right? There's people. There's already fans there. There's already people that are invested in this thing.
Because there's Leinster fans and Crusader fans who've been talking about who would win for years. Let's give them what they want.
Yeah,
I don't like this idea, but at least I think it'll work.
Yeah,
I can understand the idea, right?
That's why you see these extreme products like come out and people don't really pay attention because there's just nothing there. There's no history. There's no investment. There's no personal investment from fans.
No,
right? You have to build that up.
Yeah.
And so it's just
there's not people there, right?
That'll be great. That'll be great. I'll enjoy watching Mike Tyndall lose his money. Well, he's not gonna lose his money, but those people that are investing into it,
fucking is.
Yeah.
Well, I got that off my chest.
Yeah, we got that off their chest.
Yeah.
What else do you want to talk about here?
I was just going to mention the Lions schedule as well. I think we mentioned it briefly last time.
Yes, we did.
I do want to mention first, reiterating that I'm fucking excited for some of these fixtures.
Mm-hmm.
Argentina, invitation. I'm more excited for the earlier fixtures than the Australia tour tests.
Yeah.
I am. I'm excited for the Argentina game more. I'm excited for the Australia-New Zealand Invitational test more than I am the actual Australia test.
Mm-hmm.
I am worried that Australia could win a test because the Lions are just going to be fucking knackered. I know you have your midweek team and your main team, but that's a lot of rugby.
10 games.
And another reason why this bullshit R360 doesn't work. Our calendar of rugby is... There's not a weekend that goes by where there's not high caliber, consequential rugby happening anymore. I'm excited for this tour, though. Like, it's almost like we're getting too much of what we want at the expense of some of these players now.
Yeah, it's true.
We're like flogging a dead horse a bit here.
I think the Lions-Argentina game is going to be the game where I think Argentina might surprise the Lions.
I think they will win. I think
every Lions tour, the Lions always kind of lose one of these like these pre-games.
They'll definitely lose some games.
They lose a couple, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, what's going to go on?"
Yeah. I mean,
I don't read too much into them.
No, and I remember when 2013, the last time we toured Australia, I had a friend from Australia, and he visited me, and he was ripping the piss out of me when the Brumbies beat the Lions. And I was it was like water off a duck's back. He was getting upset that I wasn't upset. And I was like, why? This isn't a big deal. Like, the midweek team lost to the Brumbies, who are highly motivated and playing at home. Like, yeah, obviously they did,
Because they are putting in an extra, like the clubs that they're playing.
Yeah.
They are putting in an extra little oomph.
They do, of course they are. And it's not their
because they want something to prove. They're playing the Lions.
Yeah, and it's not actually their first team a lot of the time because a lot of their first team guys are preparing for the actual test.
Mm-hmm.
So good for them. But it doesn't surprise me at all. Like, of course these guys are motivated to win at home against the Lions.
This isn't like... Also, the thing is, this isn't like a Wales or an Ireland or like when they're putting out the midweek team.
Yeah.
It's a significant drop in talent. Every one of these guys...
That is true.
...is an international rock star.
Yeah, the midweek team does them no service because you're right. These are very good players to a man.
This is the best players in
for rugby playing countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So it is a significant thing. So even if the B squad for the Lions is still significant.
Yes, it is. You're right.
And when you're looking at that squad now...
Yeah.
When you look at the Lions squad, any one of those players can be the starting players.
Yeah, it's true.
Like you can make arguments. You could argue for days on who should be the starting 23 at a test match.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And there's actually there's more
no
true
right
this year.
I feel like there's no right answer with that squad.
No, you're right. And there have been years where there was distinct second team vibes.
Yes.
Not anymore.
No,
not anymore. Yeah. There's definitely guys who are, Jameson Gibson Park is starting.
Yes.
No doubt. So Thomas Williams, unless Parks gets injured, he's the midweek guy. But he just got voted the player of the season in the Gallagher Premier League. He's a good fucking 9, So, yeah. Sorry.
So, yeah.
We'll see.
I like all these these July, these like beginning of the summer test matches.
Yeah.
That are going all across the board. There's some interest. You're going to see a lot of young developing talent this summer. Besides outside the Lions matches.
Yeah.
Like South Africa is playing Italy.
Yeah.
So you're going to see a lot of new Springboks.
54 of them.
54 of them. They're going to send them all on the field at once.
Every single one of them, uncapped Springbok.
Wales going to Japan. You're going to see a lot of new players in that one.
Lee Halfpenny's going to teach them how to do kicks good. Very exciting.
It's just, there's a lot of, Ireland's going to be playing I think, Georgia and Portugal. So they're going to be playing a lot of their younger,
their training
up and coming.
panelists.
Yeah, it's going to be a squad of training panelists.
Yeah, good. They need to do that.
Yeah, so it's going to be good. England going to be playing some Argentina. You're going to see some young England talent. You're going to see some new Argentinian talent. Like, there's a lot to look at. Coming in the summer here.
We're having a reset, aren't we? Where is Scotland going? They're going
they play
mental.
Fiji. I think they're going to Fiji.
Yeah.
They have a game against Fiji. They have a game against the Maori All Blacks.
Okay.
So you're going to see what they got coming up.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know. It looks pretty dire. I think I'm really hoping the one that what I'm even more excited about is the France-New Zealand tour.
We were talking about that earlier.
I feel like that, to me personally, is kind of more. I'm more hyped about that than the Lions tour. I feel like the Lions tour is kind of already a done dusted.
Yeah.
But this, if they bring their rock stars,
which they're allowed to now.
Yes,
I've heard.
If they bring their rock stars, this is going to be a juicy series.
And I just saw a video of Dupont in some kind of rehab training thing.
Oh yeah,
and he looks muscular.
They got the lab
and
on
lean,
him.
And he's got the gas mask on, and he's ready to fucking fight Kiwis. Like, I'm up for this.
If he goes, oh my gosh, So this could be the series, because like for the last few years, France have really had New Zealand's number.
I think they will win a test at minimum. Maybe both.
But I think this is going to be. Imagine they won all three. Is it going to be a 3-match series?
I don't think it's 3.
I got 1, 2. Oh, it's just a 2 or.
Yeah.
Why do they have? I hate this.
Well, it might be. That might work out because it means some of those Kiwis can play.
No, it's a 3-match.
Oh,
it's a 3-match. We got a 3-match.
We got a 3-match.
We got a 3-match going on.
Fuck.
Oh yeah. So that's going to be juicy.
So the last 2 times France have played New Zealand, they beat them as well.
Yeah.
So they can do it. They can definitely do it.
I think they have the talent and the stars. I think they definitely have. But going into the Lions Den there in New Zealand, that's a whole different animal.
Definitely. But England took them very close. In fact, England shot themselves in the foot. There was a game that England should have won, and to be honest, the ref screwed them.
Oh, I thought it was the first test. The first test, I think they got kind of fucked by the ref a little bit.
They did. I've no doubt about it.
And then the second test, they were dominating that whole game, and then they completely
just shot themselves in the foot. Yeah,
they got gassed right out.
Yeah,
that's they. Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, this New Zealand isolation isn't it like this how they're just kind of isolating themselves in the rugby world for the last few years in Super Rugby. I keep saying it's gonna be a bad thing, but when they put that national team together,
there has been degradation though, right? But there's been 3 significant things. The first is South Africa leaving Super Rugby. It didn't pan out how a lot of us bitter Northerners predicted. We all thought, oh, this is New Zealand's downfall. It wasn't. They were fucking awesome as usual. But there was signs of weakness. And then Ian Foster, he wasn't what anyone wanted. His win percentage was like 0.03 lower than any other Kiwi coach. So everyone lost their fucking marbles. But he was still took them to a World Cup final and nearly fucking won it. So still New Zealand haven't gone anywhere, albeit they could have won a World Cup. And then even more recently, I think when they've toured Northern Hemisphere, France have shown that they are not the team they were. Because in the group stages in the World Cup, they beat them handily, right? It's about 15 points by beating by. And then they beat them again in France by a point, but they just looked not comfortable. It was evenly matched. Whereas before, you had to pull a fucking rabbit out of your ass to beat New Zealand.
Yeah.
And now France look like, no, we'll beat anyone on our day. We don't just get out of bed for New Zealand. We're a good fucking team. So as much as I know New Zealand are always going to be a good rugby team, they do look human in the last few years.
Are they human?
Are they Leinster? They wish they were Leinster. Yeah.
They also are the coaching system has stepped up.
It has.
Significantly.
It has,
They're better
yeah.
coached. Their selection.
Yeah.
I know if you talk to some Kiwis, there's some they get frustrated with like some kind of favoritism
Yeah.
when it comes to selection.
Yeah.
But I think it's better than what it was.
Yeah.
So,
And you got to pick guys you trust, right? And that was another thing. There's not many teams in the world that could have as many retirements as they had and recover as effectively as... When Wales, we lost basically our entire first team to retirement. We fell apart. We haven't won a game in 18 months. New Zealand had a little teeny dip and everyone lost their fucking minds. And now they're replacing these guys with quality again. So they'll be all right, you know? Bastards.
you know, the Kiwis, like, there's been a lot of... Have you noticed, like, there's been a lot of talk in just, like, the Kiwi media world of pundits kind of calling out other clubs?
Oh, yeah?
A lot of comparison talk going on.
Okay. Like insecurity?
No, I feel like they really want this Club World Cup thing.
Oh.
They really want this.
They're doing those, like, fighting Irish traveller videos. I'm calling you out.
Yeah.
And they sending videos to each
I
other.
think they
Like,
really want this. They
Yeah.
got a chip on their shoulder. They really want to prove themselves to the world.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us, even we have been like very judgmental of Super Rugby.
Yeah, we are.
Like we just, I
dismiss it,
view
don't
it
we?
as I view it as a worse product.
We do. We dismiss
right?
it all the time,
which
don't
is
we?
not,
Yeah.
which is not true.
Probably not fair, is it? But
It's
we
not
do
fair,
it. We do it.
but we still do it.
We do it. Yeah.
Like I personally feel like if like a lot of those teams would get destroyed, especially in the top 14.
You think so?
Yes, but I'm probably wrong.
Well, the proof is in the pudding. When they put the New Zealand side together, they show us that we've been wrong about this so many times.
Yes.
So many times.
I think New Zealand, like in general, like this Kiwi rugby in general, is something we're wrong about the most.
Mostly. Yeah. Yeah, mostly. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's fun.
It is fun.
And
yeah.
it's fun. And it's just everything, like, yeah, they are, yeah. That's it. We're just wrong.
We'll see. If France prove us right, though, the party we're going to have. The party we'll have.
The shit talking that we get to have.
Yeah, we get back on our...
I hate when I don't get shit talking opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, I really want to say some shit,
Yeah.
but it doesn't happen. I get proven wrong, and I'm like, fuck.
I know.
Like, just let me have my day in the sun.
Our worst recordings are when there's no drama.
I think our worst thing that we've done on this podcast is how we literally shit. Like, we literally took a diarrhea shit all over Northampton.
Oh, we did.
In the Champions Cup.
We did. We wrote them off the hardest.
So hard.
Yeah. Like, we almost didn't give them airtime.
Yeah.
We're just like, just don't even talk about them. It's over. It's
like,
done.
What do they do there?
Yeah.
And we shat all over them. We were worse. We're pretty hard on Glasgow.
Yeah. I'm always hard on Glasgow.
But they fucking, that was the 100%.
Yeah. Glasgow, though, they're like my firstborn son, right? If I had 10 sons, Glasgow are the one, you need to be a doctor. You better be a fucking doctor. All my other sons, no, well done, son number 3. You be a painter. It's fine. But Glasgow, you better be a fucking doctor, you little shit. Put so much pressure on them, and they always let me down.
You're my firstborn.
Yeah, you have responsibility to beat Leinster, you fuck. Poor Glasgow.
But I'm excited.
Yeah.
I am excited. I'm excited for the summer.
Big rugby summer.
Big rugby summer.
Yeah.
Big dick rugby summer.
Big dick rugby summer's coming.
Big dick rugby summer is coming your way.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm all here for it this summer.
Yeah, me too. All
It'll
right.
be interesting when our new coach gets here.
To our local rugby club.
For our local rugby club.
Yeah.
And with his, like, him being around, like, professional setups, having him, we're going to get him on the pod.
I think so.
Oh, it doesn't matter. He doesn't have a choice.
But what if he's nice and respectful and doesn't get involved in our shit talking?
No, he will. I think we'll groom him into that.
Okay.
No matter how big and scary he is.
We'll ease him in.
Yeah.
We'll ease him in. We'll start with a nice, like, salad of Glasgow hating. before we get into.
And maybe, hopefully, he is a little sensitive. So then when we start like doing the real banter, he does get a little.
Oh, he fights back.
He does a little fight back.
He stands up for the Sharks when we shit talk them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, friends, thanks for listening to the Friends of Rugby podcast.
Yes.
Like and share the podcast.
Please.
Send us money. No, I'm just kidding. Don't send us any.
Oh, why not? Send us money. People do that. That's the thing. They just call it Patreon.
We will sell you our socks to make money for the podcast.
I don't want to do
the dirty
that.
socks. We sell some dirty socks and underwear.
I don't. I like my socks.
If someone offered you $200 for your socks, you're not going to mail your socks away for $200?
I mean, I would. Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
You would. All right. Have a good one, folks.